better. We are going to go ahead and get started. As I mentioned earlier on the post, we are launching today the start of this recreation therapy live stream. So we're going to be doing this every Wednesday at 2 p.m. and we are going to be talking about various subjects and activities related to recreation therapy. So for those of you who may not know, I am a recreation therapist. And what is recreation therapy? I get that question all the time. And it's a great question. So recreation therapy is the purposeful use of recreation or leisure-based activities to promote well-being in one or several domains of health. So you have your physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, social health, and cognitive health. That's basically the five domains that recreation therapy is really working in. And with that being said, our first topic is going to be gratitude. So I'm sure that everyone has heard the term gratitude. And before we get into what it means, I want to talk a little bit about what it doesn't mean. That sounds kind of weird, but bear with me. So gratitude is not disregarding or being oblivious to anything bad that's happening in your life or in the world. It's not just totally ignoring it. What it is seeing the good in it. So as a human species, we have a negativity bias that instinctually protects us from danger. If we don't recognize the bad, then how are we able to protect ourselves from it? So it's kind of like a defense mechanism in a way. And that makes sense, right? But when we're constantly scanning for it and holding on to that negativity, it can be extremely emotionally draining, mentally draining. And we are in a position right now where there's no shortage of that negativity. We have bad news at our fingertips 24/7, okay? But, it's just when we practice the gratitude, it's not ignoring all of that. It's realizing that and accepting that, but rather than focusing on the negative, focusing on the positive and the good in it. The word gratitude actually derives from the Latin word gratia, which translates to grace, graciousness, gratefulness, however you want to interpret it. So gratitude is an act of appreciation for receiving something tangible or intangible. So giving thanks. And there's been a handful of research in the fields of psychology and neuroscience that supports the effects of gratitude on our emotional, our physical, and our social health. So there it is, 3 domains of recreation therapy that we can hit on with just the practice of gratitude. So I want to share with you guys a couple of benefits of gratitude today, and then we will talk about a couple ways that we can practice it. So benefit number 1, it makes us happier. So when we practice and express gratitude, the part of our brain that's associated with reward is activated. And so when that happens, we experience a surge of our body's feel-good chemicals. Our serotonin, our oxytocin, our dopamine, those feel-good chemicals are released. And because of this response, the practice of gratitude has actually been shown to reduce feelings of anxiety and depression. So that's really, really awesome and very powerful. Benefit number 2, it improves our friendships and our relationships. No matter if it's, just a friendship or if it's a romantic relationship, gratitude reinforces generosity from both the giver and the receiver. So what that does is it creates a pattern of giving. And it's also been shown that those who communicate frequently their gratitude to those closest with them, those people are more likely to work through those problems and concerns that come up in the course of your friendships and your relationships. So that's pretty cool. Not only can it work within you as an individual, but it can work within relationships. Benefit number 3, it can improve our physical health. And I know that sounds kind of strange. You're like, how can practicing gratitude affect me physically? Well, if you think about it, when we practice gratitude, when we're choosing to focus in on that positivity versus the negativity, we are going to experience less stress. And when we experience less stress, we can actually reduce our blood pressure, and we are going to get a better, higher quality of sleep. Studies have also shown that those who practice gratitude are more likely to exercise. So I found that to be pretty interesting, just by having that mindset of choosing to focus in on the positives versus the negatives, having that attitude of gratitude, if you will, we are more likely to get out there and exercise and do even more good for our bodies. Benefit number 4, it can improve our self-esteem. So I found this really cool quote when I was doing research for this, about this, and it said, feeling grateful every day keeps the envy away, or keeps the envy at bay. And I thought that was a really cool little saying. Just when we practice being grateful for what we have, there isn't room to think about what we don't have, right? So when we switch to that mindset, we decrease that room for comparison or even materialism. And I feel like that's a big thing, because especially in today's society, materialism is very prevalent. It's about who has what a lot, oftentimes. And if we switch that mindset and we focus on what we have, then we realize that those material things don't matter as much. So that's pretty cool. And then benefit number 5, it builds on itself. So the more that we practice gratitude and the more that we think about what we're grateful for, the more we find to be grateful for. So gratitude can quite literally rewire our brains to think more positively and to think more optimistically, especially during tough times. So it then increases our resiliency to tough situations. And it continues to provide us with all of those other benefits of practicing gratitude. So those are just a couple that I wanted to highlight to you guys. There is a lot of research out there, and if you're interested in learning more about the benefits of gratitude, I would be happy to forward you some of that information. But for right now, we are going to move along and talk about how we practice gratitude. Now, there's a couple ways that we can do this, more than a couple ways that we can do this. We'll talk about a couple here, but I also want to note that when we practice gratitude, we can focus in on 3 different areas. We can focus on the past, we can focus on the present, and we can focus on the future. I think that's a common misconception about gratitude. It's that it's always maybe about our past or maybe just about our present, but it can actually manifest itself in 3 different areas. So the most popular and the most talked about by far when it comes to practicing gratitude is gratitude journaling. But there's a couple ways that you could go about gratitude journaling. The highly researched way that I have found is to write 3 things that you are grateful for every day for 21 days. So when you do this, you want to think about only the past 24 hours. And when you think about the past 24 hours, you want to pick 3 things and you want them to be very specific. So, for example, I'm not going to just say, I'm grateful for my dog. I am grateful for my dog, but why am I grateful for my dog? So I would say, I am grateful for my dog who encourages me to spend time outside. You know, I've experienced that a lot during this time. He is constantly wanting to go for a walk, and, you know, sometimes I'm working and, you know, you just get in that mindset of go, go, go. And he allows me to take a step back and say, you know, we're going to go outside, we're going to enjoy some sunshine, and we're going to get some exercise. So that is definitely something that I am grateful for and found to be especially true during this time. So another way that you can do gratitude journaling, though, is to think about an experience that you've had, a positive experience that you've had. So this could be past or present. And then you want to take 2 minutes to write or type every single detail that you can think of about that experience. For 2 minutes, you want to try to do this. And when you do this, you are, in a way, tricking your brain into experiencing those positive feelings again. So you are doubling the benefit of that experience with gratitude. And you would want to try to do that for 21 days as well. So those are both daily commitments. Now, if you feel like a daily commitment isn't very reasonable for you, then there are still other options. For example, you could write or type a letter. This isn't something that needs to be done daily. I read you could spend 20 minutes on it a week. And that might sound super scary to some people, writing a letter to someone about, you know, how grateful you are for them. But the cool thing is with this particular method is that you actually don't have to send it. You don't have to give it to them. By simply constructing the letter and reflecting on that person and your gratitude towards them, researchers have said to detect profound effects dating months after the practice of actually writing the letter. So I thought that that was pretty cool, and I think that that's definitely something that we could all do, something nice that we could all do for someone in our lives. And, you know, then it goes back to that benefit of gratitude in that it kind of creates that ripple effect. You know, both the giver and the receiver are benefiting from it. And so then it just continues to be this chain of generosity. So that's something, like I said, that you could just work on for 20 minutes a week. And then another activity that you could do is to, you know, those are all like having to do with words and, you know, stringing them together. But if you're more of like a visual person, create a visual. You know, get a piece of paper and put together things that you are grateful for, from pictures, from magazine clippings, from, you know, whatever it may be, and put it all together in a type of like visual board, and put it up on your mirror, on your fridge, somewhere where you're gonna see it every day. And then every time you look at it, you're like, wow, like, look at how much I have to be grateful for. And another cool thing about doing it in that way is you could also incorporate things that you are looking forward to in the future. So it's a way to bring in that future component that maybe isn't always present in other forms of practicing gratitude. So, of course, there are many more ways besides just these, varying from very simple to very complex. But no matter how you do it, I encourage you to do it, because the research really does support all of the incredible benefits that come from it. And so my challenge to you guys today, if you're watching this video live or you are rewatching it on our wall, please comment 3 things that you are grateful for. Just from this post, go ahead and comment. And I want to hear what 3 things that you are grateful for today. And that is all I have for you guys today. Like I said, we're going to be doing this every Wednesday at 2. It's not always going to be about gratitude. Like I said, it'll be about various subjects or activities. So if you guys have any ideas, something that you maybe are interested in, feel free to let me know and we can maybe work that in. And I always appreciate any feedback that you guys have. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this beautiful afternoon. Definitely get outside and enjoy the weather and the sunshine if you can. I know that I will. And I look forward to seeing you guys right back here next Wednesday at 2. All right, so I miss you all very much. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.